we are kicking things off with massive advancements in naval power. The Navy Expeditionary Warfighting Development Center NEXWDC and Navy Expeditionary Logistics Support Group NAVELSG forces just completed a critical limited objective experiment at Naval Air Station Jacksonville, Florida, to test out game-changing expeditionary refueling solutions for P-8A Poseidon aircraft operating in the toughest environments. This experiment brought together the Navy Cargo Handling Battalion, NCHB, 1 and the 2nd Navy Expeditionary Logistics Regiment, 2nd NELR, to validate how the Navy can bring fuel directly to the fight, increasing aircraft endurance and operational reach in contested maritime settings. We dive into the details of this breakthrough capability right now.
Here's a simple way to protect your phone without stress. This ALAN 3-pack comes with tempered glass screen protectors, camera lens protectors, and an installation frame for an easier, cleaner fit. It's clear, case-friendly, and built to help guard against scratches and everyday bumps. Check the link in the comments to get it on Amazon.
Next up, we are looking at a massive shift in how commerce moves across the planet. Is globalization finally losing ground to localization? Global Trade magazine reports that businesses are actively rethinking their supply chains, moving away from purely global sourcing toward building resilient regional networks. We explore exactly what factors, like rising fuel costs and trade policies, are pushing companies to prioritize shorter, more localized supply chains to boost flexibility and reduce risk. Stick around to see how this regional pivot is reshaping global trade patterns. The environmental side of global trade is heating up, and a new solution is emerging. Global Trade magazine has detailed the promise of green shipping corridors, which are designated maritime routes designed to slash carbon emissions from global trade. These corridors are leveraging technologies like green hydrogen and biofuels, alongside renewable energy integration, to make shipping cleaner and more efficient. We break down how these sustainable routes are transforming maritime transportation and what challenges remain in deploying this vital green infrastructure. Finally, we shift our focus to the physical hubs driving this global movement. International delegates from 10 countries just toured the ports of Indiana Burns Harbor to explore the region's massive role in global logistics. We hear from Port Director Ryan McCoy and Northwest Indiana Forum President Heather Ennis about how Burns Harbor is strategically positioned to connect North American trade corridors with Europe and Canada through major infrastructure projects. Don't miss these insights into the economic engine of this region. Stay with us for the rest of the broadcast. Naval Expeditionary Forces successfully advanced joint refueling capability for distributed operations through a comprehensive limited objective experiment conducted at Naval Air Station, Jacksonville, Florida. The experiment, which ran from April 21 to May 1, 2026, focused on evaluating expeditionary refueling solutions, specifically designed to support P-8A Poseidon aircraft operations in austere and distributed environments. Led by the Navy Expeditionary Warfighting Development Center, NEXWDC, the effort integrated personnel from the Navy Cargo Handling Battalion, NCHB, 1 and the 2nd Navy Expeditionary Logistics Regiment, 2nd NELR, to validate refueling operations where traditional infrastructure is limited. This initiative directly addressed a critical need voiced by fleet and joint commanders for a capability that could bring the fuel to the fight under contested conditions, thereby reducing reliance on fixed refueling points. The core objective was to test the speed, survivability, and scalability of the Navy's Expeditionary Logistics Force in supporting specialized aircraft. The experiment served as a crucial testbed for the Navy Expeditionary Logistics Support Group, NAVELSG, to integrate emerging refueling solutions into its evolving force design and future operational capabilities. Participants highlighted the value of the hands-on experience gained, particularly for the refueling team, which gained exposure to equipment and platforms outside their usual operational scope. The P-8A Poseidon, vital for maritime patrol, reconnaissance, and anti-submarine warfare, benefits immensely from this enhanced refueling support, as it boosts aircraft survivability and operational flexibility in contested maritime settings. The exercise was strategically aligned with fleet requirements, utilizing tactics developed by the Maritime Patrol and Reconnaissance Weapons School to ensure the data collected directly informed future doctrine, training, and process improvements. LT Adrian Arango, the LOE lead planner, described the event as a major step toward validating performance and shaping future Navy tactics, techniques, and procedures. NAVELSG units played a central role by providing the expeditionary logistics backbone, emphasizing their mission to deliver critical logistics at the point of need. The overall demonstration underscores the increasing ability of expeditionary Navy forces to integrate seamlessly with Joint and Marine Corps partners to sustain specialized aircraft in challenging theaters. The results are expected to significantly refine expeditionary refueling concepts, improve interoperability, and enhance overall readiness as the Navy prepares for operations in distributed and contested environments. The global supply chain landscape is undergoing a significant transformation, with a noticeable shift from extensive globalization toward localized, regional supply chains. Decades of globalization enabled companies to achieve cost efficiency and scale by sourcing materials and manufacturing across diverse international markets. However, recent disruptions, including trade conflicts, pandemics, and geopolitical tensions, along with rising transportation costs and logistical hurdles, are prompting a strategic reevaluation of this model. The move toward regionalization is primarily driven by the need for enhanced resilience. Companies are seeking to reduce exposure to global shocks by positioning operations closer to key markets. This localization offers substantial benefits. Shorter supply chains improve flexibility, allowing businesses to respond rapidly to shifts in demand. Furthermore, regionalization enhances supply chain visibility, enabling better monitoring and coordination, which ultimately reduces the risk of disruptions. Beyond risk mitigation, regional supply chains address economic pressures. They help mitigate the impact of tariffs and trade restrictions by reducing dependence on complex cross-border trade. Environmentally, shorter distances translate directly into reduced fuel consumption and lower carbon emissions, aligning with growing sustainability mandates. Moreover, closer ties with local suppliers foster stronger relationships and more reliable material sourcing. This trend is reshaping global trade patterns, fostering the growth of regional manufacturing hubs as production and distribution centers become more localized. However, the transition is not a complete replacement for globalization. Many industries will maintain global networks for specialized resources or massive-scale production. The emerging strategy is a hybrid approach, leveraging global networks for certain functions while strengthening regional capabilities for critical, responsive activities. Challenges remain. Localization can introduce higher operational costs due to increased labor expenses and the potential limited availability of specialized resources in specific regions. Managing multiple regional networks also adds complexity that requires sophisticated coordination. Technology is proving crucial in navigating this new terrain. Digital tools, including supply chain analytics, artificial intelligence, and real-time tracking systems, are providing the visibility and control necessary to manage these complex regional networks efficiently. Automation further boosts productivity, helping offset potential cost increases. Ultimately, the future of supply chains points toward a balanced strategy, combining the efficiency of global reach with the resilience and agility of regional strength. This adaptive approach is positioning businesses to thrive in an increasingly volatile global economy, prioritizing long-term stability and adaptability over short-term cost savings. Green shipping corridors are emerging as a critical solution to mitigate the significant carbon emissions and environmental impact of global maritime trade. As the shipping industry faces increasing pressure to become more sustainable, these designated trade routes are implementing low-emission and environmentally friendly practices to transform traditional shipping into a greener system. These corridors are specific maritime routes connecting major ports committed to adopting sustainable practices. Within these corridors, vessels utilize low-carbon fuels, energy-efficient technologies, and optimized operational procedures. Ports along these routes are simultaneously investing in necessary infrastructure to support this sustainable shipping ecosystem. Central to this transition is the integration of renewable energy. Alternative fuels such as green hydrogen, biofuels, and ammonia are being actively explored to replace traditional fossil fuels, with these fuels often sourced from renewable energy, thereby significantly reducing greenhouse gas emissions. Furthermore, ports are incorporating renewable energy systems, including solar and wind power, to power their operations. The strategic focus on specific routes allows governments and industry players to effectively test and scale green technologies, enabling gradual yet impactful changes across the shipping sector. The advantages of these corridors are multifaceted. They reduce carbon emissions, enhance operational efficiency through advanced technologies and optimized routing, boost the reputation of adopting companies, and align economic growth with environmental responsibility. Technology is a key driver of success, with innovations in ship design, fuel systems, and energy management improving efficiency. Digital tools and data analytics are essential for optimizing routes and monitoring fuel consumption, while automation and smart systems are streamlining port operations to cut energy use and emissions. Despite the promising outlook, challenges persist. High costs associated with developing and deploying new technologies and fuels, the need for extensive infrastructure development at ports, and the complexity of achieving regulatory alignment across different jurisdictions all pose hurdles. Success hinges on strong collaboration between governments, shipping companies, and other stakeholders. Pilot projects are already underway, demonstrating the feasibility of these initiatives. As technology advances and costs decrease, the adoption of green practices is set to accelerate, solidifying the role of green shipping corridors in establishing a more sustainable global trade system. International delegates from 10 countries and provinces recently toured the ports of Indiana Burns Harbor to explore the region's critical role in global logistics. Port Director Ryan McCoy hosted the delegation, which toured the facility on April 23. Heather Ennis, President and CEO of the Northwest Indiana Forum, provided an overview of the economic growth factors positioning the region as a leader. The port site itself offers significant development potential, including over 75 acres available for development, featuring a 34-acre greenfield site boasting 1,000 feet of dock wall and Lake Michigan beach frontage. Jean-Francois Hood, Chief Representative for the Government of Quebec in the Midwest, highlighted the strategic importance of the area, noting that Quebec is Indiana's second-largest Canadian trading partner, with bilateral trade reaching $3.1 billion USD. Hood emphasized that Northwest Indiana is strategically positioned within North American trade corridors, pointing to how the Ports of Indiana Container Project and the Gary-Chicago International Airport expansion align with major logistics investments in Montreal and Quebec City, thereby strengthening globally competitive cross-border supply chains. A key development is the planned new sea cargo container hub designed to connect the greater Chicago region with Europe and Canada, a project approved by U.S. Customs and Border Protection in 2024. Dan Vickery, Executive Director of the Gary-Chicago International Airport, elaborated on the airport's function in facilitating global connections and its foreign trade zone capabilities. Furthermore, Lisa Doherty, President and CEO of the Center of Workforce Innovations, discussed the workforce development initiatives in Northwest Indiana that are crucial for supporting the port's expansion. The tour was a collaborative effort, organized through a partnership between the Chicago International Trade Commissioners Association and the Quebec Government Office in Chicago. The Ports of Indiana, established in 1961, currently manages 3 ports across Indiana. Heather Funstein, publisher and executive editor of Channel YouTube and NW Indiana Business. Com brings over 25 years of experience in Northwest Indiana and Northern Illinois newsrooms to the coverage of this regional development.